Timepiece, masterpiece. I still love
town and you put on a hell of an event, a hell of a weekend. You know, it was a whole weekend. So just tell us how that went, you know, what came out of that.
Yeah, for those, and specifically for those who really didn't like get to see that first episode, I hope they have an opportunity to check back in, man. That was a beautiful convo. And it really speaks to the work that I do. You know, living in Dallas, however, being still connected in my city. Like, I founded Be Nimble Foundation alongside my cousin Kelly Jones.
Okay.
Financial crisis. A lot of those jobs went down. You know, they left. And the reality is that impacted and over-indexed the impact in the Black community because most of us got it out the mud. Right. And then our parents, they really made their money in automotive. That's how the middle class was able to, like, really be established.
It was almost like a factory line of, like, you graduated high school, went and worked at one worked for 40 years.
Yeah, then they're making 6 racks, bro. You feel me? Moving to the burbs or really developing out the hood, you know what I'm saying? And, like, putting your kids through college. So, you know what I mean? Parents are getting laid off and you seeing that in your family because our experience and events and sales helped us leverage our audience, tell the story, right?
My art and my likeness in a tech manner from the Marathon store with Nipsey, or you saw as how things were packaged as far as, you know, click here and this code goes here. This gives you a code. First of all, I want to salute you on that work,
Bless
man,
you,
because
bro.
that's behind the scenes that we don't always realize has to be addressed.
Right.
Because we look at the main pillars of our community and we focus on that. But what about those who aren't at, you know, I always say sometimes the middle class gets forgotten.
1,000.
Because if you're not destitute, sometimes you're not a priority in the eyes of you need assistance to get over the hump.
Exactly.
It's like, okay, you got to college, but instead of us, you know, having excuses, how about now we start trying to cultivate those networks day to day? And that's why I'm glad that 2020 kind of woke a lot of us up.
Right, 1,000.
It's like I can't depend on the country to
take, but it's also to, like, inform people, bro. Like, if you're in marketing right now at a hospital, you can be like, I couldn't even begin to think about how successful the week was. It was like this was the year that everybody finally understood what we were trying to accomplish. And, like, they were thirsty for more. And if there wasn't for the pandemic, we would have done the outdoor version of it in Black Innovation Week, and it would have been nuts.
Yeah.
But now we get to do that in 2021, but people are now, they understand. And it's, you know, it's been a blessing, bro, like, through the mud. But, you know, if anybody could take anything, I guess, from this part of the conversation is, it's, you know what I mean, it's that translation piece, and it's about staying in your lane, because even through, you know, the pandemic, I knew it. We saw it. You know what I mean? We were even just texting about it. Like, the people who, like, this is when you know who the real you know who really moving shit.
2020 showed you who was really moving.
Who was really moving like they say they do.
We had ample time to make shit happen.
Like, it's just you and yourself. It's you and your little core group. It's like, and I'm not saying you just had to, like, be moving and, like,
doing something great. But were you making use of your time in any way, shape, or form?
Right.
But I also heard, and the thing about it is, I don't want people to feel as though there's a pressure to having to be better. Sometimes it's, have you worked on yourself to the point where you are in a comfortable space to be able to become greater?
Right.
Because I feel like sometimes you just got to get your mind back in sync. Like, I knew a lot of people that used the lockdown of the pandemic, especially when it initially started, to kind of just recharge and reset themselves.
1,000, bro. Like, I mean, shit. We talked about all the things we've been doing, and I think that was, twofold. One, it was like my work with our foundation became more important because now we got entrepreneurs, or we're getting people that's laid off
that were forced to become
entrepreneurs, right? Or forced to find new opportunities that fit their skills and remote work, et cetera. So, we were doing our, even when I'm still having to deal with, I just started a new job in February, just came off of a hell of a, pitch, and then it's like, or a week, high off life, and then boom, I got to go back and really like get ramped up in my new job at the crib. Living by myself. So I understand the internal work that was being going on, but it was something in me that kept me motivated and kept me moving, was the fact that with my foundation, I had people on my shoulders that was looking for what's next. Yeah. And this was a critical moment for us because our work mattered more now. Everybody was sitting at home. Everybody was looking for things to do. So virtual events was popping, and we had their attention to talk about.
You have to tap into your creativity,
exactly,
a whole nother level, because it's easy to roll out some stuff when we're able to move normal.
Right.
But can you make something pop from without being able to make contact with these people?
Exactly.
Because being able to make contact on the net, in any social media platform, is very hard if you don't already have an established platform.
1,000.
So to gain that momentum is a true like win in itself, because
1,000.
gaining that traction and that momentum and that following bit by bit, and I love seeing that process anytime there's a new artist, a new voice.
Hell yeah, bro.
Of just seeing the growth in the platform.
Yeah, it's a different type of person. You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe not even necessarily a different type of person, but I admire people who can, hack moments and turn them and bend,
like how you put
bend culture to their will.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tory Lanez, DJ D Nice, and
that's who I want to mention. He
Tory
was the
Lanez
first person.
He's an idiot, but
but
D Nice and Tory, the way that they were able to hack it, right? Hack this moment. The way that Swiss and Tim was to hack this moment,
bro.
Think about how they were able to leverage this moment to generate momentum and then literally create a new industry. It was a use case that is now creating a new avenue for artists, et cetera, to it was amazing to watch.
Think of the momentum that artists are now getting once they come off of a versus battle.
Woo!
But also think of how bright the light is for someone like, say, a Jonte Austin.
Bruh.
Like, this dude has been impeccable in the hits he's rolled out over 2 decades. There are people that didn't even know he existed.
And it's beautiful because it nuancey, culturally speaking, if you're a 2000s baby, you know what I mean, or you're a late 90s, you got access to understand the power of Teddy Riley, to know that if there's no Teddy Riley, then there's no Bruno Mars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? The Dream wrote all those songs for Beyonce.
Yeah. You saw the genesis
of a lot of things, and it was like, people are now tapping into the power. And shout out to Babyface, he from the crib, from that, whatever.
Never knew that. Boys claim Atlanta once they be there.
Yeah, exactly. Nah, he's from that. Like, and he still be outside. You know what I mean? Coach K from that.
No, I know Coach K is. Yeah,
so,
find out.
They be showing love. Yeah, but it's just the fact that now you get to have those combos, man, and it gave so many people exposure. So even if you didn't know some of their songs, it was like, dang, now it gave you people to revisit, and it just built their brand. And I love that they were able to honor some legends through that.
Yeah. What have you noticed in the way entertainment is packaged in 2020? I feel as though the greats have been able to break through and leverage this, basically the pandemic, and make it, like you said, bend to themselves.
Yep.
I look at someone, and I wanted to kind of tap in with this, with you. Like, I look at the new trailer for American Skin. That's the Spike Lee joint that's supposed to be coming out January 15th, through streaming networks, platforms. I feel as though a lot of people are now trying to use their art to speak to something, and as far as being able to find your voice, you remember we were talking about briefly before the show started, as far as how there's so much noise in social media. There's so much noise on the web. There's so many voices. There's so many, varying opinions. A lot of, and it's also a lot of just fluff. When I say that, is people that are just regurgitating what they've heard. So you have to kind of, excavate to find the actual tangible information, because everybody's put their think piece on top of the initial content. So we were talking about the new transition into something like a Clubhouse, where there's an added exclusivity to it that kind of allows people to have real dialogue and context to their conversation. Because I noticed, especially during election season, online commentary was key to a lot of the perceptions of both parties as to, how was the online, network packaging themselves. And I felt like, that's why I was nervous about the election, because the Republicans were whooping our ass online. Yeah. If I looked at it just online, because I felt as though, but that was the immaturity of me wanting to just go down to that. I was trying to IG or Twitter the election. Meaning, you know how it's like, I have to be right online, or I have to see my side being right online. But a lot of the real work is being done off that. And so that's where the noise will kind of get you, because algorithms will lead you to believe that this is the truth, or this is what is actually going to occur, and have you making assumptions that aren't really there, because your algorithm tells you it's way more Republicans or way more Trump supporters than there are not, or there are way more people who don't believe that Black Lives Matter than are not. Because it's just all about where are you located sometimes. Yes. What is being packaged to you, and what are you consuming? And so that's why something like Clubhouse, that allows dialogue in small networks, you never know, and like tap into that, man, because you just put me on to as far as how it works, the inner workings of Clubhouse. And so how do you feel like that will change how we social media?
1,000%. So I think 2020, man, is like God's gift to the world, because it made everybody sit their ass down and rethink. Like, I personally knew that Donald Trump was not going to win this year. I personally knew that after 2016, we were in a state of shock. Yeah. Echo chambers and those algorithms, it was only a matter of time before we had to rethink it. I've titled this year, and what's really happening in society is compassion culture. Okay. Hashtag compassion culture. When everybody's sitting down and they're looking inside, and they have to also look outward, there was this need and this desire to make real connections and really bridge authenticities, and people's truths were being challenged in 2020. So it's only a matter of time before those echo chambers burst, specifically with the way in which we dialogued on around politics. Yeah. So this year, just statistically, like, if just the average person, right, the norm is, and I feel sorry for people who actually believe a lot of the lies that come across from the Republican side or conservative news that's manipulating data and all that other stuff to tell a certain story, because they're going through a real reality check right now, because the world is not like that. The average person,
to their point of view,
the average person is a moderate to a liberal. Right. The average person, cares about the next person, and they make decisions based off of their juxtaposition against people who are not like them. Right. That is statistically, that's just a fact. So we can deliberately, have opposing views, right? But gone are the days after everybody got to experience the 8 minutes and 46 seconds of George Floyd, right, and his death, where you can actually clickbait your way into a win. Like, people are thirsty, especially now with like all this election fraud and everything like that. The Supreme Court saying, hell no, we ain't going. Yeah. Like, when they have to say, no, this was wrong, these are facts, that's fake news. Right. We're not having that. It doesn't stand up in court. This is how we're moving forward. Now, all these people have to sit with the idea that, the echo chambers, the algorithms that I've led they've failed me. Yeah. And now I have to look inward and say, like, and challenge my own thought process. And if not, really start to make deliberate decisions centered on truths and find true truths.
How can I find my median. Because I attested to the flags are coming down. What I mean by that, those Trump flags, slowly but surely, you're starting to see them come down. And like I said on the show about a couple months ago, where the enemy of the face of the opposition changes. And what I mean by that is sometimes, and I felt as though a lot of us were so passionate and emotional with being in opposition to something. You have to now find out how you can impact and strengthen what you align with.
1,000.
So you being in opposition to something doesn't always lift up what you are in,
or it doesn't sway people, man. Right. And that's why I call it compassion. Like, hell yeah, I'm mad at people who hate my black life. Mm-hmm. That's different than the mug that is choosing the opposite, who has no understanding of my experience.
Right.
How can I have compassion for the people who grew up in places where they didn't have access and understand, like, empathy? And that's why Obama is the rock star that he is and he was. And there'll never be a better politician because he could connect with anybody.
Because he was forced to by the way he was
1,000. So if you really want to make things move, you have to understand the other side and you got to be able to speak their language. And I think, here, that's why compassion, like, and people who are really leading with compassion were winning. Biden appealed to people's compassions. Biden appealed to, people's needs to go back to normal. The extremes, people were fed up with the extremes.
I think a lot of people voted for normalcy and not for belief, because you don't want to have to wake up and wonder what your president tweeted.
Right. Especially if you voted for him because of just your economic reasons, or if you're a one issue voter.
Exactly.
Right now it's like, does this weigh out everything else? Yeah. Was it worth it? So I mean, but the reality is, man, like, I think that we're having two conversations about this, and I think your biggest point was about the desire and the need to have more intentional dialogue, and how people are starting to, like, be more exclusive in many cases, like Clubhouse. It's because people are tired of echo chambers, and I think people generally desire not only truth but thoughtful dialogue, and really want solutions. So it's important for people who are driven visionaries and people who are driven by the idea of bringing people to that space and and teaching them how to do that, to make spaces. And then secondly, I think the reality is that exclusivity, like, that is a trend because of that desire to be yourself and get something that is beneficial that isn't truly accessible. Right. Because what you'll see is, bruh, it's not just black people on that app, but in Clubhouse specifically, like, we're like in any other thing, like, we're early adapters of culture, and like our culture is driving the trends. It was like music, and now it's like all these various topics, and what you'll see is that people are trying to be inside and get access to things that they typically did not have to. And I think that's a beautiful thing, but it's also something that we should be cognizant of. But yeah, man, compassion first, man. And exclusivity is not necessarily the same as access.
Yeah.
And I think that's the next thing that we're going to have to explore effectively.
I feel like, exclusivity done the right way, it enriches or encourages true scalability. Because people having awareness of something. So say, for instance, you have a gift or you have a product that really is impactful, or you have a skill that really can make inroads in different communities. Imagine if you have a huge platform with this knowledge and you speak this to this huge platform.
Yeah.
But sometimes the people who have the biggest, like, if you have dialogue, your dialogue might be used, and your commentary and your time might be used on people who really won't go and try to practice what you have, because you have 1 million followers and everybody DM you because it looks cool or it sounds cool or it seems cool. But it's people that's really trying to facilitate and actually try to apply what you have, to be able to have that dialogue to where we're able to really pour into
Yeah, bro.
Making this grow or making this pop or making whatever this is move to the next level. That's why I say scalability.
Right.
Being able to actually cover true ground, because if you put it in the hands of the right people, I feel like it's way more impactful just putting it in the hands of the masses.
Right. Hey, man, I think, and just how that ties back into my journey this year, it's like this was the first year that Be Nimble were able to get grants. And I know we'll talk about that later.
No, I want you to tap into that.
Yeah, because this grants, it's like gatekeepers and all that other stuff. And I think my biggest thing in my journey this year has really been about the fact that exclusivity can be toxic. Exclusivity, like, why are we?
That's why I said done the right way, because that's a real difference,
Yeah, and I think that difference is about access. So if we do something on New Year's, it's in a pandemic, we want to honor 10 people.
Yeah.
But we want that shit to go up. We might have like 10 people there, we all dress up and we have that, and we don't put that on social media.
Yeah.
That's an exclusive event.
Yeah.
But what if people were treating PPE exclusively? How you supposed to be serving your community, or you're a leader within the community, but you're only telling a specific sector or segment about the opportunities to get PPE or the loans to help their businesses stay afloat, and you're only rationing it off to people in your circle.
You're basically recycling the same practices. Yeah.
Now that gatekeeper shit, as well as the exclusive, like, oh, like shit, we all Black Greeks, or oh shit, we live in lofts, like however people want to divide themselves.
We live in a loop.
Yeah, we in a loop. We inside. We not out in the. We don't live in Lancaster. We downtown. Like,
I hate it,
bro. Like all that. Oh, we work at this company.
Yeah.
So we moving different.
You can't sit with us.
But bro, it's something that should be free, and you blessed to have access to that table, and like our community is not connected to that opportunity, but you speak our community's language. You need to share that shit. Period.
But you want to know, and that shows, unfortunately, the root of a lot of our issues when things have been, the rations have been low or limited.
Yeah.
When a lot of times when people get that big piece of bread, they hoard.
Bro, we here now. And that's what my shirt meant.
We
here now. We can't do that in 2020. I want us to get
used to this shit.
Yeah, bro.
Because once you get used to it, you're able to now start passing it forward or paying it forward.
Abundance, bro.
Because abundance is what is first of all, abundance is a mindset. Because
100,000%.
Look at it like this. Some people might not share until they believe they have enough.
That's true.
And so if you believe that I have enough to be useful to somebody else a lot, sometimes you don't have to wait till you get to 10 million or to $1 million, to your first 6 figures. I know I see the workers of me tracking that down 6 months down the line. So let me pull somebody ahead so they can be in line with me before I get there. And now I'm having to look down at the mountain. Because a lot of times people don't want to listen to the person at the pinnacle.
Oh, my mama, bro. I feel like God honors the transparent and the givers, bro. Like, my week was successful, and we had over 3,500 people participate in our week because, bro, like, we partner with other nonprofits.
Yeah,
we partner with people who we may have shared a space with. You know what I mean? We covered costs for emerging startups and emerging nonprofits and creatives, because it was more important for us to focus on that vision. And granted, we didn't have all the funds, but we knew we had enough, and we believed that was only a matter of time. And when you think of me and like Jeff dreams, or like what I feel like I'm here on this earth to do, is really about that, bro. It's to inspire others to give, like to serve others, and know that you can still be in your bag individually and bring people up. And people are watching how you move and the work that you do and how you honor God, and the blessings and everything else is not only in how you walk in your excellence, but then also how you are simultaneously giving and serving others.
Yeah.
So I get it, because a lot of us did get out of the mud, and we so used to like even past generations, like, oh, only got to be one. Bruh, technology, getting back to technology, bro, we seeing millionaires overnight. We seeing people tap in just off the strength of walking in their own specific lane And now there are new industries being created based off of them just being who they are. It's only a matter of time.
I think the downfall is us being in a microwave society is a lot of people kind of get off of their path before their real value is shown, or the real wins come, because like that's why I feel like social media is so beneficial, but it's so toxic, because when you have access to being able to see so many wins for people, it could break you down mentally if you aren't strong. You know what I'm saying?
People don't need that, bro.
And that's why I always say I hate a lot of the younger. That's why I hate a lot of the younger generation. Grew up in it because they don't know what's real and what's fake, or what's. And that's why I really enjoy when you have this dialogue and this commentary, because it puts some normalcy or some human interaction in place as to human emotions.
Yeah,
because
bro.
social media will make you numb at times.
Bro, on me, like, and I told you even off air, like, what I mean, we've been on this marathon with Party and like Be Nimble since like November 2016 after I left Afrotech. And to be honest, bro, like, we didn't have any much like the corporate founders and funders, et cetera, like backing us. It was all straight out of the mud. And I think it was so easy for us to look left and right. But for us, like, staying our course and honoring what we felt like was our path, it really paid off in 2020. And I think, the microwave society enables people to not or want to. What gets the attention is either the super dope flexy shit, like just generally, right? It's the super dope flexy shit, or it's the, the tea.
I won't believe you got 1 million until I see you get on the PJ.
Right. Exactly.
That's what a lot of people
it's like it's either the tea or it's like, you know what I mean? Like what happened, like the drama shit, the outrageous is that outrage culture, and then it's like, so basically the things that get you, let's be real, it's the things that appeal to insecurities that get the most attention. And then secondly, it's the aspirational thing. And I think, going back to my word or phrase, compassion culture, like, I've made it a point, and I encourage others to make it a point, you know what I mean, to really share the journey with people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm transparent in the sense that some of our events did not like hit, or, we owe money and we had to like find ways to do it. You know what I mean? Though. It's part of the process. But then on the other end, us staying true, we were able to overcome that. And now secondly, we now had, even fighting inward, right now we're in a position where we can bless others because we're able to get the grants and stuff like that to make our work a little easier. And I think, people sharing those experiences and not treating themselves, even if they're blessed in a different way, or if they do have access to materials, to not treat the next man or woman like
they're pawns,
right?
In the words of Kyrie.
Exactly. Because people be tripping, but I be feeling Kyrie on a lot of that stuff, bro. He's crazy,
but it's like, the thing about it is, like, once you speak, somebody feels like you're speaking downward. Like, a lot of times you lose all of your message behind.
1000%. Once people feel that way, or they feel like, you like, we just have to be mindful that people receive things differently than we do.
Yeah.
And what is our goal is we have the sales background. So like, our goal is really, at the end of the day, I want to make this money. You know what I mean? Or at the end of the day, I want to make this sale. And in this case, I treat my interactions with people like that sale, in the sense that
it's very transactional.
I will, or in this sense, if I want to get my beautiful message or whatever I have to give to them across, then I need to speak in a way that they can receive my message.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to be treated like a peasant, so I'm not going to talk to them like a peasant.
And that's why it's so key to how you package your message and how you present it. And what I've noticed this year, and I want to ask you before I even get into myself, what I've noticed this year is my tolerance for unnecessary energy or unnecessary bullshit very low after this year. So what have you found out, kind of like, to kind of move to a more personal perspective? what have you found out about Jeff Williams, during this pandemic, being kind of closed off socially from a physical standpoint, or like whether it be how you, socialize, how you date, what have you noticed has been a difference in you over time this year?
Whew. Man, people feel like I'm pretty social, but I truly enjoy tapping in by myself. You know what I mean? I really finally embrace that I enjoy my alone time, and I found purpose in my alone time.
Yeah.
And I think the purpose with my alone time is to recharge. You know what I mean? And I see the balance of like, and people expect me to show up. When I'm out, they expect me to show up.
Perform.
And I want to and to perform.
Yeah.
So the importance of being more intimate with myself and using that alone time to like really like resolve the things that, may have been like lingering inside of me, whether it's, family shit, relationships. Like I really locked in and I just embraced that. And I learned more about myself and how I can also project, and how those past traumas or those traumas within me can, really impact my relationship. So for me, it was like acknowledging and really making a conscious effort to work on those things and be more honest and transparent about those vulnerabilities with the people around me. You know what I mean?
And to piggyback off of that, you notice how they say when things are quiet, get in your head, you start analyzing yourself, you start basically figuring out, things that you might start thinking about or paying attention to things that you would normally do in a time of noise or normal activities. When we were in the house and there was nowhere to go, living downtown, and it seems like a ghost town.
Right.
There's nothing you can do to break the monotony, and what I realized is how do I friendship? That's a real thing. It's like, how do you friendship? How do you socialize? How do you date? I noticed it was more of a job for me. I noticed it was more of a job for me to be around and socialize with people who I didn't have true bonds with.
Bro, I didn't. My tolerance, and I feel you, my tolerance for like superficial things was like, I'm like, I got niggas that was on their deathbed, that survived the pandemic, like survived Corona. I got people that lost people. Yeah. And it was just like, then I'm at work and I'm having to talk about my Black experience.
Oh my gosh.
You know what I mean? Then it's
like, can we tap into that?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, it's all that. And it's just like,
gosh.
My tolerance for, bro, like, okay, if we're going to go out, like, number one, we're going out in a pandemic and people are losing lives, but you just going out, or you just because you, nah. And, I can't.
So I feel guilty. So I'm not gonna lie. When I go out, I feel that's what I don't post if I go out.
100.
Because first of all, being in Texas, it's wide open. Imagine how Texas looks to somebody is.
Imagine if everybody was actually posting. It would look as bad, if not worse, than Atlanta.
My brother promotes in Houston. And like, them niggas is eating better than they was last year.
It's like a guilty pleasure. It's like the profit on that guilty pleasure is stupid.
It is so I was thinking to myself, and I was like, because I was in the house till about September. Before it was just like, bro, like, I'm forgetting how to socialize. And then what I noticed is when I got back outside, I realized I'm not really missing anything,
bro.
It kind of puts
like what we out
in perspective for you.
Like what we out here for?
Because when I go out, I'm out, but I'm ready to go. Like the process of going out, the anticipation of getting there and seeing the faces. Once you made your rounds, very few times have I been out and I'm like, okay, I'm really enjoying myself. Now it's like I feel like I'm going through the motion because this is what I'm supposed to be doing on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And what happens is I notice I just want to be back home in my lab, whatever it might be, letting my mind just run, letting my because I feel as though I've learned to enjoy my space and enjoy my company, having to actually tap into myself. I can't just go get on a plane and go out of town and just give myself a fantasy land and just forget about my problems in a pandemic now. It's like I have to address this shit head on. You know, you only can buy so many new pairs of shoes to get you a false, feeling of like happiness or feeling like normal. I was doing shit like that, and you start noticing it's like, okay, you're trying to deflect and you're trying to divert from really tapping into you from a mental perspective. Yeah, you working. Yeah, life is good as far as financially. You're not really feeling the pandemic, but I noticed from my mental, at some point it was like, okay, am I where I need to be, or am I taking advantage of this time? Because I feel like we're on the precipice of a black renaissance.
1,000.
And bro. I don't want to be the guy that's on the sidelines like, damn, I had did this, that, and this. I could have been there.
Bruh. How have you been, like, because I think the mental health piece, the emotional intelligence and all that shit, like, is so important, especially for black men. Like, what are some of the new things or things that you found to be new hobbies or things that you enjoy that you didn't prior to the pandemic?
So one is hiking. So at first, I was in Boy Scouts, Eagle Scout. He did all the outdoor stuff. I used to think it wasn't cool. You know, being from the inner city. Man, I don't want to be in nature, one with nature. It was like, but now just noticing that just just getting away from all of the bullshit that happens online or what happens in my job or my day-to-day, and just walking, like, you realize how peaceful the world can be.
1,000.
You get what I'm saying? But it also is just like, I just wanted to just do something different or change the view of what I saw in a day-to-day.
1,000.
Like when I go to Cedar Ridge Preserve out there, I don't feel like I'm in Dallas. I don't feel like I'm in a metropolitan area. I don't feel like I'm in the concrete jungle of downtown Dallas. It's like, that's why I like to go on Sundays. I make it a point to go on Sundays to recharge and prepare my body and my mind for Monday morning, because I know it's going to be a different monster. And I want to just make sure my mind is refreshed. Another thing that I've noticed is I've noticed that this year a hobby of mine is pouring more into my younger siblings.
Dope.
Because what I noticed is when I have 7 younger siblings, all boys, from the ages of 13 to 28.
Wow.
So it's like, it's across all lanes. And I'm not the most, I'm the type of big brother, you need me, I'm there, I got you.
Right.
But just tapping in day to day or just checking on, cause you know how teens are, you know how young
you try to give them their space.
Give them their space. But then you start realizing, like, they are looking for you to tap in.
Yeah, man. That was one of my biggest things, man. Like, our family was like having come to Jesus moments, just like breaking through our gaps and our traumas and stuff. And for me, it was like my sisters needed me in a different way. And, we older, and it was like, how am I connecting with them? And then also acknowledging, like, when I went out to college and I did all these other things, there might have been a sense of like neglect or like abandonment. So how can I really tap in a different way with them now? And that was something that I can definitely say that I walked away with, is, to your point, really figuring out ways to reconnect and like tap in with my younger sisters, siblings in general, just pouring into them in a unique way and letting them know and helping them feel my presence.
So you have younger sisters. If you don't mind me asking, what ages are they?
So 28 and 25.
Okay. Being a brother of sisters, having sisters. I don't have any sisters, and I've always wondered on some real shit, like, how does having sisters, and I don't know how open they are with you about their experiences with men and things of that nature, but how does that change how you move or handle women? From like, has that always impacted you, or was it there like an aha moment as to when you realize, like, damn, this could be, you put your sister in their place?
Bro, so I'm glad you asked this. I've never shared this on cam.
Okay.
It's a blessing, bro. Like I feel like their theory, bro. Like we shared a room. Like we really got out of the mud. Like,
Yeah.
2-bedroom apartment in Brendan Way in the middle of the Nap. You know what I mean? And like the way in which like we came up, and from that experience, bunk beds, them two on the bottom, me on the top, to like getting our own rooms when we moved to the burbs, when our family came up, to like me going to college and all the other shit. Like I've been able to see them in unique ways and in different ways, and you know I was embedded between them, my mom having wonderful relationships with both of my grandmothers, and then having hella aunties.
Yeah.
The way in which I think the biggest thing that I've learned is to see women as like on the same level.
Yeah.
As me. Like, I mean, they not only nurture me, like they
see them day to day.
I see them day to day. So like my understanding level of like the things that they go through don't mean I necessarily like fuck with it all the time, but it's like I understand. And for me in dating, it's like getting women also to see like, bro, like I'm tapped in on that level. You know what I'm saying? Like I understand. So it's like I see things that you might not even you expect from a man to see. And then secondly, is that patience.
Yeah.
Like it's that patience level. And that comes from that empathy and seeing them in that lens. And I know a lot of women that say, oh, well, niggas only respect women because if they had daughters or they always bring up their mom and stuff. Like, bro, like, no, that stuff does matter.
Yeah, it
and
does.
you know, me having that experience and being a big brother to sisters helped me see them in a different way. So my toxic traits is a little different than the average nigga's toxic trait. You know what I mean? I might be inconsistent, but at the end of the day, the way in which I treat them and honor them as humans and as my equals is an advantage because I came up with sisters.
What do you think is one or two of your toxic traits? Because I share what I think of mine, and I want to see if you're willing to share one of yours.
Oh, nigga, it's the inconsistency for sure, bro. Like I feel like what I learned is like because I love my space and that's that duality is like making an effort to tap in consistently. You know what I mean? Making an effort when I and it's like getting, and then secondly is like getting out of my head. When I'm really fucking with somebody, it's like, how do I communicate those things even when I know that it may not necessarily be what they like.
Yeah.
They might not like to hear, but they need to hear. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I would love to like kick it with you, but bro, I'm not really feeling that. And I think what I get so caught up in like trying to like honor, you know, and do what they want to do. And then if I know that I'm not up to it, I anticipate that. So I just be like chilling. Mm-hmm. And it's like, how can I really like lock in and be consistent even when I'm in?
Bro, like, I'm laughing is because you speaking my language right now, dude.
Bro,
like,
that's
like,
it.
God damn, like,
bro, that's it. I mean, that's it. That's my shit, bro. Like, cause if you don't hit somebody up in like 2 days, or they think something wrong with you, and I'm like, bro, like, or that I'm not interested. Like, no, I'm just genuinely. I don't need to be up under somebody on a regular basis, but like, if I really fuck with her,
I feel like
how can I at least make those, like, I don't like FaceTime. You know what I mean? It's shit like that. It's like, how can I make her feel my presence and like.
Without me having to go through the job functions of showing.
Or, yeah, like, and I got to be flexible with that. And I learned that I wasn't flexible with that. And if I really wanted them to feel, you know what I mean? It was like, how can I honor their love languages and shit like that?
So how do you go about that? Do you just not date, or do you just limit how you interact?
Bro, I've had to let somebody go that I really cared about because I realized and I started understanding that in that space I wasn't ready to do the things that I knew or that was required, and I needed to give myself more time to understand how the things that I did, you know what I mean? If you a nigga and you feel like you got your shit together or you doing certain things, you can sometimes be jaded to the sense of like, how does that work with somebody else?
Bro.
And I need to take a step back to be like, yo, like, nigga, like, even though you got this, and this, like, I mean, it's things that you need to work on, especially if you from a relationship perspective. And then I could tap back in, you know what I mean? And I think that's where I've been at in that journey in 2020 is like figuring out how I can like really acknowledge those things and then say like, what am I willing to do? And then be transparent with people about where I'm at.
Like how I've had to keep myself from moving is moving off of off of reflex. I was the guy I always felt like I had to have some type of woman in my life, whether it be serious or a fling or just some type of interaction from a woman.
Bro, women are dope, bro. Like I don't. They
and
dope.
That is what, and that's what, because the energy of a dope woman is you can't replace
bro.
it.
It's like it just.
And I know, like, because I literally just had to let somebody kind of, move around in a way, because I wasn't willing. When I'm in a relationship, or I'm pursuing someone, or I'm dating someone that I see a real future with, I don't half step. I don't like to half do it. I don't want to just be one foot in, one foot out.
Are you sure it is? That's how I be. Like, you dating, you be like, man, bro, are you sure?
So you dating this person, and then you start realizing, like, are you able to? Do you have the capacity to maintain the job functions and the job behaviors of being someone that
tapped in how you want to? Because you could mess around and get in your way when you.
I don't want to have do it.
Because when you not at the space where you, bro. Because when you tapped in, you really tapped in. It's like
you know it.
How am I in a position to actually? Am I truly ready for that? Am I truly ready to be who I am?
My
because
mind
if not,
changed.
I'm gonna be in my own way.
My
and
mind
it's not even gonna be
changed
about her.
In the middle of our interaction, in the time that we were dealing with, my mind changed.
Yeah,
and she,
and not about her, but about you.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you trying to get this person to understand that it's not, because this shit is the most. It's the most.
Especially when social media, everybody else is telling you, sis, you're not the one.
The worst thing I want to hear is not you, is me. You know what I'm saying?
They don't believe it. It's like, bro, like,
honestly. The worst thing, though, I had to catch myself. I really had to catch myself with this. I came out of that relationship and I almost tapped into my reflex. Like, okay, I'm out of a serious relationship, so let me go find
demon time.
Another situation that's just. And then I was like, so I sat there and I started the brief interaction of giving people the time that was, trying to.
Be like, bro,
you ain't ready, bro. Sit the fuck down. Like, I had to really tell myself to sit the fuck down, because what I noticed is you're trying to create social diversions, in your life to kind of.
2020 is all about looking yourself in the mirror, unpacking your shit, working on you. And really coming out of this motherfucker like,
I don't want to I don't want to have the same bad habits and keep continuing the same bad habits from relationship to relationship, or
man.
Whether it be friendships, dating. I don't want to keep replicating the same bullshit ass traits. You know what I'm saying?
I bet, based off of what you've been telling me, it's kind of like me, and why I fear, and like, I guess why I'd be like, man, I don't feel like I'm ready, is because my readiness was the idea that, like, when you be locked in, and something that men don't talk about, like, bro, we do whatever we got to do to keep that woman happy. And it was like, how do we move forward even when we not up to their standards on the day-to-day, or like when we not locked in? Like, how do we overcome that, for another day, instead of carrying that, and that creates this traumatic, codependent type shit. And it's like, how do I get out of that?
Yeah.
And for me, I think that's, even as we're talking, I was like, I feel like that's the fear there, is like, bro, like, even if she's not happy or I did something, like, how can I still go about my day? How can I still be who I am and move on and still resolve that? And it's like, how am I attracting the right women that can, like, honor that in my space and be transparent in that type of shit to make it work moving forward?
I think I ain't gonna keep, going into this, because we could talk all day, but
we got so much to talk about, man. But what did you expect,
bro? Like,
I knew it. Like, it's 101. I already knew this is gonna be a little different.
You're doing a lot of unpacking, because I look at it as, like, perfect example. Men, unfortunately, have practiced this mentality where we have to. The pursuit and the hunt is what takes precedence, no matter how good the situation and dynamic is. In our current situation, whether we're dating somebody or life is good.
Niggas
overall.
don't even be thinking about what they need, what they want.
Bro, just because, all right, I look at it. and I hate the name drop, but I look at the perfect example of like the Lil Baby situation. Like, you notice how when shit like ideal, he didn't work, birthday coming, he had a dope ass year, bro. And it's like the action of one fuck up. I don't need allegedly, but what I mean is like all it takes for the dynamic to shift, because he said he was like, when shit going good, the devil always show his head. Yep. And I think what happens sometimes is we always feel like we can skate by, or you can kind of cut a corner. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, bro. Like
that I always feel like that metamorphosis has to go through all of the steps. It's like a Monopoly board.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just override a step. Even if you get 5, you have to 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, you're
5.
talking about like being, and what I think is like, how are you in your final form? Like, the best version of you. There are steps you can't skip.
Yeah.
If you just want to be a nigga who got bread, or who can just hop from chick to chick, or then have a main and like not go through things, bro. You can do that. But what you're speaking of,
do you want to be that true family man?
The true what you're called to do, then that's a different way to move. And the steps you can't skip, and you can't skip that inner work.
Yeah.
And 2020 has been about black men, black women, like our culture, society, everybody doing their inner work.
Right.
So what that looks like for black men specifically is that emotional intelligence, is that understanding, is that empathy, is that inner work. That's what we need to tap into to get to our final form.
Have you noticed it seems like as people are working on their inner workings, it's created some type of disconnect between the genders, because it's one of those things where when we peel back the layers of each other, like men and women, and you start realizing, like, all right, it's like people kind of project their experiences onto social media if something like the Lil Baby situation happens. They're in the comments.
Y'all are not millionaires.
Niggas ain't shit. Niggas
y'all not millionaires.
Y'all not millionaires. You paid $16K for that.
They probably got. That's before we go. I know where you're going, but this is something I need to get off.
Get it off, man,
bro. These are celebs. We all know celebrities. Yeah. They move different. They got agreements. Bro. You know how many women that I know, like, look, bro, when you are in certain things, there's certain things that come through with that territory and they moving different. We have to stop projecting celebrity relationships onto there's clearly transferable things, but it's not the same. And you got to be uncomfortable with that uncomfortable. Like, you got to be uncomfortable with that shit. That, you got to be comfortable with that uncomfortable. And the reality is all that stuff is mirroring what's really happening in society. There's more talks about open relationships, polyamory, like all those things that, let's be real, like we got to stop acting like those things aren't happening in society, and now they're just coming to the surface. And when you are a celebrity and you moving different, we gotta accept that some people allow certain things to happen, but it's that, oh, don't embarrass me. It's not all that. So
that's exactly
let's make sure that if we're gonna have these conversations, I just ask that us as a culture that we compare apples to apples.
Your club promoter boyfriend is not on the same level as a platinum selling artist who you know what I mean?
Or maybe y'all had that conversation.
It's like the reason I feel like this is because I always said when people were looking at the appearance of the person he cheated with allegedly and all, they were like, I don't get it. And I told my homeboy, he a little young, I was like, you won't realize the deviance of niggas' movements until you have something like women or sex in abundance. You ever notice, like, why do you think, like, rich, wealthy, white guys or, you know how they say guys fly the women to Dubai to shit on them? It's like, what the fuck? But it's like, how can I push the limit?
It's like the movie Limitless told us that, bro. Like, when you have it all, when you are in a space, when you're charged up, bro, like, that's why those things, and I don't, when I pray about and when I think about who I am in the future or, and what I'm tapping into, it's not necessarily just tied to wealth. You know what I mean? It's tied to abundance and it's tied to other things, but like we forget that, you know what I mean? You bring those things inside of you with you when you come to those certain levels in society where they treat you a certain way. Yeah. So if you're a deviant in certain things, they only get money only magnifies it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we seeing. Like if you had bad relationships with women, you know what I mean, and you feel like only if I got money then I can have. Why do you feel like you have to have money to have dope relationships with women in the first place?
Some guys use money to acquire their wildest dreams.
And I feel like you using women as pawns in your game.
It's like Meek dating Nicki. He said, I dreamed of dating Nicki before I got on. It was like a conquest.
Yeah.
And so this is like more of like a stage in the game for you.
Bro,
versus
we about to really be on some man-to-man type shit if we tapping into that. You feel me?
No,
like the way in which men see women.
What motive? Like a lot of times, and I don't think women understand their power sometimes.
Why all the niggas in Hollywood gravitate to a few of the same women? Is it about
you wonder
the women?
why they recycle?
Is it about them women?
It's a status check.
Or is it about the nigga who had
you are fucking
that woman?
behind, bro? And I don't think women understand how this shit
they do that
goes,
on a local
bro.
basis too. We can
like,
tap
oh
into that
my
too.
gosh, we know every major city knows them ones. I just call them them ones.
You only want her because he had her.
Exactly. Like you saw her and so. Like I never forget it. Bro, this is what I knew this shit was bad. A dude I worked with, bro, when I was working at contract in Houston, man. This chick that works with us used to date, like she dated OJ, like she was OJ Mayo's girlfriend.
Okay,
it was just like,
I mean,
ain't nobody like
yeah,
you would have to really like know who we talking about to know who we talking.
Yeah.
Bro, the first this dude, work, he pulled her. You know what I'm saying? She let him take her out. He like, bro, I already knew because me and her was cool with her background. But he didn't know I knew her background. You know the first thing he said to me? He didn't say, oh, she cool, she dope, she good vibe.
It's OJ
You know she used to fuck with that nigga OJ Mayo, right? I'm like, nigga, he's a role player on the guy.
Bro, women and black women be telling us, bro. It's like some of y'all niggas is just y'all
groupies.
care more. Yeah, y'all more groupies than us.
You want to smell his dick? Like, goddamn, because I really feel like,
bro, and like,
you want to fuck behind so.
Bro, like, when you locked in and when you living in your shit,
yeah, bro,
niggas want what you have, and they look to you everything that you do, and they move that way. Niggas will start dressing like you. And then the last thing, if you want to attack a nigga, what do? You don't attack him at his head, nigga. You aim at the heart. Who's at his heart? It's the chick, bro. That's why they be recycling. It's like, bro, it's a status symbol. I'm like, I just attract and I want to, and I'm attracted to women who understand that game. You know what I mean? That's because the women in my life, they always knew that game. And it's like, what are you like? We gotta be tapped in on that level because you see that shit coming. And you got to be my eyes. You feel me? And you see these niggas in my circle or around me that's moving that, you know what I mean, why they there. And it's like, I just wish and I just hope that people are, just paying attention to how those things move.
People want to be at the cool kids table too much if they really do shit that's outside of their character.
Bro, and individualism rules, bro. Like I said, we moving and all of our success, y'all podcast, the things that at the end of the day, like people are going to put these things on pedestals. But it's so many people who are making moves in their space because they just stayed their lane, they ran their marathon.
Right.
And that's what's gonna last. Only real shit gonna last. All that other shit. What did old boy say? What did Drake Daddy say on that? Was that pound cake?
Nah, all the shit is gonna disintegrate. Like, like I remember at the end, like all basically shit, it has to be of some material effect for it to actually stand the test of time. And that's why I really just want us to, as men, I'm going to call out the black men, because as a black man, I just want us to stop looking side to side so much. Because I think what that does is it fucks up your progress. When you apply the pressures to yourself that somebody in comparison to somebody else that doesn't even know you exist. Bro.
Man, remember who you are, bro. Like, people be teasing me, my homies and my friends be teasing me because they say, oh, nigga, you a Beyonce groupie. Because I love the Gift album. Yeah. And it was like my question or my thought process or, that question, who are you, in Lion King. And then also that was manifested, like really pulled out of, the Gift.
Shout out to Rafiki.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And remember who you are. It's like, bro, like I challenge us to seek that inner, like who we are internally and what we're called to do and understand that. Tapping into that and walking in that, your light and being a light, like, bro, like whatever, like your heart's desire is yours.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And all that other shit is not gonna matter.
Yeah.
And I think with us looking left to right, it distracts us from going. We will probably go further, most likely, and substantively, we will go further honoring our own path than looking left to right.
Yeah.
And in order for us to get to that, and why I can have empathy with the next black man who looks left to right, and even in times when I've looked left to right, you know what I'm saying? It's I understand why. You know, there's so much things that we've unpacked and we feel like we haven't been able to like truly explore that. But we have to do that inner work.
Yeah.
And if we do that inner work, bro, like, whew.
Put the blinders on. I know it's hard to do in the social media age. I know it's hard to do.
We gravitate
man.
to that music, man. Like some of my favorite songs is talking about doing that inner work. Like and like being, you know what I mean, really tapping in with myself as me versus that money bag, me versus me. Like shit like that, bro. Like, bro, like that's what get me up these days. It's like
me versus me, man.
I'm on my bike, bro, going 20 miles. I'm tapped in on the music that's really like focused on myself. I can't be focused on anything.
Shit,
why would I stop?
He just threw that 20 miles out there, Spider. Like it was when I'm in my bike on 20. Like, and that's another thing I want to tap in. Salute to you on the as far as the the self-help improvement, bro. Like man, like I've seen your journey. You know,
bro.
I follow you when because I know you be up early on on your runs and everything, and when I'm rolling over, I look at you and be like, my boy out there, man. And that's why I finally had to I'm like, bro, let me invest into getting better. Because I always said, I'm gonna do it. But until you start investing into it in some way, shape, or form, and then like you say, as you pour into it more, then you start investing in it more and more. Like you start cycling, you might get you a road bike. I mean, a hybrid bike, just the one that that you had when you was a kid. But once you start realizing, like, okay, I'm actually making some leeway. I'm really becoming a cyclist enthusiast. Okay, then you're gonna get the road bike. Put a real I look at things as in scales and as in small steps, because I feel as though the worst thing you can do is try to excuse your stagnation by saying, I don't have the time or the capacity.
Bruh. Where were you at the beginning of me at the beginning of COVID, man? The first thing I did, bro, was like get on Amazon and buy me one of them fake Pelotons.
Yeah.
Pay $170, got one of them motherfuckers up. I was like, bro, I can't hoop. I gotta find something.
Yeah.
But man, my greatest gift to myself was this new bike. And I feel like I discovered that I enjoy those long rides. Like I enjoy being out in nature. You were talking about hiking. I enjoy being out there, going somewhere and coming back, being tapped in with nature, just me, my bike on this road. And yes, it's so much, like it's cardio. It's great cardio. It's easier than on my knees than running. But secondly, bro, like this is a hobby I'm going to be able to carry with me for the rest of my life.
Right.
And that wind, being in nature, like that does something to you spiritually too. And I don't think we talk about our connection, especially as black people, to nature enough. Like
it carried us for so long.
But it carried us for so long. So I'm winding through these trees and I'm like, like you can tap in, the sun hitting you, like those things. Like, and I don't know all that stuff, but I know enough spiritually to understand like that's when we're at our best. Like my mind is so much clearer and I can make better decisions. And that's why I made it a point. And I mean, it used to be hooping in the morning. It used to be running. And now it's biking, to do something to start my day in that way, to like really like set my intentions. And like, I don't need a Red Bull. I don't need coffee because when I get off that bike, it like, I feel like I've gained something. I didn't lose anything by doing it. Like I don't feel tired. I mean, at the end of my day, but like I've exhausted all of my energy by the end of the day.
You getting your REM sleep?
But I've charged up
Yep.
in that morning at work and all the things that I got to do, and I can keep on going because I started my day out in nature on that bike, going 25. And
your endurance has grown over time.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, I'm going to ask you from...
Damn, we just chopped it up. We didn't even really tap all the way in, bro.
Like,
I love it. We needed this.
Honestly, man, we got to do this more often because I feel like good dialogue is underappreciated, but it's also much needed. What has been your highlight artistically? Whether it, whatever product that's been put out, whether it be a special, a documentary, an album, movie. what has been a highlight for you artistically this year?
So I got two. My own, tapping into my own shit. I'm a fashion dude. Like, I always embrace it.
Mm-hmm.
And but I always have ideas and I never put them out because it was like, you know how artists are.
Yeah.
Like, share this with
People
my
gonna
world.
love it. Yeah.
But nigga, I was so turned about this social justice movement this year, bro. And I tapped in because Budweiser, shout out to my company, Anheuser-Busch, bro. They really got and tapped in with what we were trying to accomplish from a social justice perspective. So when I saw that, I kept on saying, we here now. Like, all the things we was talking about earlier, like, bro, we got to confront our things. It's compassion culture. Like, right now is a moment, and everything that we're asking for as Black people, like, they asking us, what do we want? We here now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We here now, like, it just in general.
We
It
at
was
the
just rolling
table.
off my tongue.
It's time to talk.
Right, it's time to talk. They ask us, all right, I'm going to be real. This is the year that you can be your authentic self moving forward. It was like you said, a Black renaissance. So, bro, I designed that shirt, and I put that out. And the reason why I put it out, and I finally just pressed send on some shit, is because I wanted to donate. I wanted to do a cause. I'm not a marching dude. I always been a nigga that, like, try to inspire other people, but it was like, damn, how can I really make change? And Equal Justice Initiative was something that I was gravitated to because I had niggas, including my family, that's been locked up or rightfully or wrongfully.
Yeah.
You feel me? And I was like, I know that they were actually out in the streets getting people out of jail and, like, helping people who were in the streets who were marching get them off. So I was like, bro, I'm going to design this shirt and I'm going to donate the proceeds to Equal Justice Initiative. But secondly, I got to tap into my creative energy. But then secondly, my company matched all donations to Black causes and social justice initiatives.
Shout out to Anheuser-Busch for that, man.
On everything. So
how did you leverage that to give some insight as to how people are able to leverage their voice in their corporate setting?
Man, number one, your company, every company, especially if you know the people in our audience, you work for a company that has matching donations.
Right.
So if you're at the table and they're asking you what you want, it was like, damn, like, I don't see the companies or the foundations that I care about on this list. Is there a way for me to leverage that? For us, we were able to get like 5 of them. And then we, as a Black network, decided on 2 that we were really focused on. And so tap into that. I identify like who's available and what organizations are available to match. And then you can run your own personal fundraisers.
Yeah.
So for me, you know what I mean, I made shit before, like, I mean, after, like, with profit in general, I made like $2,500 or something off these shirts. And I was able to, so imagine that. If I make $2,500 off the shirts, you know what I mean, or it was like $1,000, $1,500, you know what I'm saying? But I was able to, my company matched that.
Yeah.
And gave that to my company. So instead of $1,000, let's just do a round number, instead of $1,000 donation, it now becomes a $2,000 donation. So the matching companies really lock in with your companies to identify like how you can do the match, so that whatever you're doing personally, you can flex, you can finesse, and that's why I call myself a professional corporate trapper, bro. Like, at the end of the day, I'm here to give everybody else jewels. I'm here to put people on, but then secondly, I'm using that to build my own things, and then lastly, give back to the culture.
The corporate Robin Hood.
There you go. So, but now as far as like creatively.
Because, you know, I feel like a lot of people have been in their pocket. There's been so many things that have hit the airwaves this year.
Man, airwaves.
Has it been something that has just, you know, captivated your attention as far as like, okay, this is mind-blowing? Or has it been something that you just, it might be just something that you've just become a fan of that you weren't before?
Man, I'm going through all my stuff. What I would say is, creatively, I think the Versus is probably the most impactful thing we've seen because it literally broke and reimagined social media and like our capabilities.
Yeah. Outreach. Yeah.
Outreach. Now, socially, music wise, and then I always think first I'm over here going through my stuff. What I was tapped into the most. Music, and then like art wise, like movies and film. The Gift, I think, was underrated. It's still underrated. I know it's Beyonce and everything, but like, bro, like the imagery, the symbolism, and how she was able to connect the diaspora in that film, I think is something that we need to truly honor and revisit, because there were so many hidden messages, especially spiritually, that I think that it was important for us to like lock into.
feel like it's so hard for people to capture all of the messages spiritually when it's somebody as large as Beyonce. Because you're kind of caught up in the aura of Beyonce. You're not paying attention to the significance of certain things.
Right. Now, as far as like my favorite albums, I'll just give you my favorite albums from this year.
Yeah, man. Give me a couple. Or a few of them. Put the listeners on if they ain't listened to it already, man.
What have I listened to the most and like what's been my favorite? All right, so I'm a big Thugger fan. So Slime and B with Chris Brown was like something that I was like playing heavy. So Slime and B.
That was a weird combination,
bro, and it worked. It's like chicken and waffles, bro.
I was not expecting.
Because like the thing about it is like Thugger can like bend things, and like he can fit. Like he's a Morpheus, so like he can do many things, and it worked. I wish, like, I can't wait. I want like Go Crazy, like, but that song Go Crazy between them next summer. It's people are gonna treat that song like it just came out.
But they did that. What was the song before that kind of blew up on TikTok? That had him. It was Thugger and what's old boy name with the dreads, the light skin with the dreads.
Ty Dolla Sign.
Ty Dolla Sign. You remember what was the song with Ty Dolla Sign and
dang,
and it became like huge on TikTok. I'm just gonna fucking bother me. But yeah, man, like it's always dope when people like find out something that is old to us but new to y'all.
Right. Right.
So before we get out of here, what do you have on the horizon going into 2021? Like what is in the works for you? Because I always like to know what you got in the lab.
Oh yeah, man. So just going back to Be Nimble for me, we were blessed to get a United Way grant to help us on our entrepreneurial side of Be Nimble. So we're launching through the pandemic. We saw all those restaurants and chefs go out of business or what have you. So we started a food accelerator, like it's a ghost kitchen and an accelerator. We got an industrial kitchen at 16 Tech in Indy, and our grant from United Way is going to help us get that off the ground. So chefs will have access to, instead of selling plates, you now have an industrial kitchen where you can actually do all your work instead of at the crib.
Out your goddamn house,
you can do it there, and we're going to work with them on how to leverage technology while they're making their business, doing like the delivery systems and using like Uber Eats and all that. So we're tapping into the ghost kitchen space, and then we'll be launched to start in Q1 and Q2, and then launching the beauty accelerator in at the end of Q2, heading into Q3. And then secondly, we were talking about that transition in the tech thing. So I'm definitely blessed. We got a major grant from an organization, one of the top organizations in technology
pretty
right
big,
now.
Man.
Pretty big that is going to help us, really with our momentum. We were one of 50 organizations. I think like 1,200 plus apply for this huge grant, but honoring the fact that they only gave this to organizations that were focused on Black and brown communities and helping them get into technology.
Dope.
And if we weren't in that space, bro, we wouldn't have got it. And we were the representatives for Indiana to be able to get that. So it's huge. I say huge. We talking hundreds of thousands of dollars that we're going to be able to really give out. And our goal and our objective is to help people transition to technology and then cover costs and build partnerships with the boot camps, et cetera, in our city to cover the cost for people to actually, get those skills. So I'm really excited about that, man. Going back outside, we'll, party, we got that pending right now because clearly it's all about our culture. Yeah. Right, but I'm thankful and I know for a fact we're probably going to be able to do Black Innovation Week in July, as well as do our garden party, which again is just honoring and giving the proceeds to folks who are really tapping in with their startups as well as culturally. So I mean, I'm just looking forward to being blessed. Us honoring our land has now put us in a position where we're finally getting the acknowledgement from the people who can actually help us jet set. So now that we got that extra kick, that startup, that seed funding, really, bro, we're gonna take off because we've done so much previously. Getting over 200 plus people jobs, helping over 100 founders, and now I can only imagine what that's gonna do now that we don't have the weight of we have to do these events to make that happen. So I just look forward to being able to do that, employ people, give people jobs to help us move this on, man.
You're able to reallocate a lot of your focus.
Exactly, bro.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Man, congratulations.
When you paying bills now, you know what I'm saying? And being able to pay other people, man. That's a good feeling. Ain't no better feeling, man, than being in a position where you can pay other people, bro.
Because at the end of the day, you want to show appreciation for their time and efforts, man.
Exactly.
Because you have a lot of people that for anything to get off the ground, for anything to transpire, you have to have a lot of people that pour into it. So, man, being able to pay it forward towards them is a dope thing in itself. Man, congratulations. I want to make sure I give you your flowers here for just how you've, taken advantage of 2020, man. And I see a lot of wins for you in 2021. One last question. What's one personal goal for you in next year?
Buying a house, bro.
Okay.
I'm going to buy a house, man. I'm going to go ahead and buy a house here in Dallas. I said if I made it to 5 years, I was going to go ahead and tap in. So I look forward to going into 2022 in a new crib. So that's a personal goal for me.
Hey, man, housewarming.
Oh, you already know we're going to go up.
Man, dog, this has been a dope ass, this was just an opportunity to build, bro. And that's why I'm glad we were able to come in here kind of to level set on the year and just what we've observed, just how the culture and the world has changed. But also, man, the evolution of everything, bro. I appreciate you.
Man, I love it, man. Thank you for having me, man. Y'all one of my favorite podcasts. Man, I just y'all deserve y'all flowers.
Man, appreciate it.
Especially just black men in this space and just sharing real experiences, being vulnerable, telling their truths. We need more of it, man. Yeah. And I'm inspired by y'all staying committed to it. Y'all are hella episodes in. And
we coming up on 100, man. I appreciate it. We really got to get you to come in here and celebrate it with us for the 100th episode, man.
Hell yeah. I'll come in, pull up.
Man, and again, man, y'all keep rocking with us. And salute to everybody that's been supporting us from day one. Also, special shout out to my boy D-Boy. He had to bury his cousin this today, but our prayers are out to him, man. And also, man, shout out to my boy Knowledge and Flim. They couldn't make it, but they behind the scenes working and rocking. So keep walking with us for sure, man.
For lifers.
And Jeff, you got any shout outs? Anybody you just want to salute before you get out of here, man?
Man, we shouting out mamas, we shouting out sisters, we shouting out black women. You know what I mean? I think that's flowers. My shout out. They all deserve their flowers, man. So it's been a hell of a year for them, and I think it's important that any chance we get as a black man that we're also bringing them along. So I'm encouraging other black men to make sure that y'all stand in that truth as well moving forward.
Be better in your interactions with black women.
There you go.
Actively. So Spider-Man, before you got anything to take us out of here, man, Cause I feel like we gotta have some shit to make us flex when we come out here. We done had this dope ass conversation, man. Boy,
Roddy Ricch had some huge
wins, bro. Yeah, man, step on them, bro.
Yeah,
man, stay on their necks, man. Yeah,
big stepper like big.
It's your boy Antoine the Source.
I was taught to go and get it straight up.
This Unspoken Conversation, man.
Murder,
and we out of here.
Murder, keep my slugs, my nigga. I was taught to never show no love, my nigga. Papa Xanax. I ain't never had no feeling. What I got planned next? Gotta put the stars in the ceiling. Sliding down Fairfax. Nigga, I was plotting on $1 million. I want $1 billion, nigga. So that's on God, I ain't chillin'. Yeah, perky, dirty soda. Ayy, only talk bags on the Motorola. Ayy, push the Hellcat like a old Corolla. Ayy, I'ma let these rags talk for me, nigga. Bitch, and I ride with the shooters. Ayy, made my cousin a killer. And at 15, I was neighborhood drug dealer. I'm so cold-hearted, I can't show no love, nigga. But I fucked that bitch to party next door, Persian rugs, nigga. Bought a brand new AP, it was 50,000 total. It felt like the flu game when I sold out the Nova. I had to finesse and get the bag, I had mad dodo. If he ain't tryna go get the safe, I get it cracking solo. Hey, big stepper like big meat. I was taught to go and get it straight about the mother, little nigga.